Hey, what's up, Nice Kicks Readers? This is Ian Stonemark. We're out here today at the Austin Rec Center for a performance view on the adidas D Lillard 1. Start things off, support. For me, support was a non-issue on the D Lillard 1. I always felt stable when playing the shoe, whether on offense or defense, or moving left to right or forward to back. A lot of this is because it's got an outsole that's wider than the upper, so you feel very sturdy and very secure. Now, the tech foot booty definitely helps in terms of keeping your ankle locked in, but it still falls under the ankle. So if you're not a fan of low tops, it is what it is. You're probably not gonna like these, but for me, support was very solid. Now, as far as cushioning, much was made when the D Lillard 1 first launched about Damian Lillard electing not to use boost in his shoe for a cheaper price point. Now, adiprene is used in this shoe, so if you've hooped in the D Rose 3 or 4 or the J Wall 1, you've got a pretty good idea what adiprene's like. For these, the adiprene felt a lot softer and a lot more cushioned to me than those shoes. Traction is a good selling point of this shoe. Now, it features like deep diagonal grooves on a pretty sturdy outsole, so traction was very good on both offense and defense and transitioned pretty well when playing on dustier standard courts. Now, I will say this was probably the first aspect of the shoe to go from a durability standpoint, so if you've been playing these for a few months like I have, this would probably be the first thing to let you down. But that said, tractioning when brand new and after a few wears is pretty good. Lockdown, an important aspect of any shoe, especially a guard shoe. Now for me, I really like the tech foot booty. It's not as snug as I'd like it to be, but if you lace them up really tight, it definitely does the job. Now for me, I found when playing in the D Lillard 1, whether it's like multiple pickup games or I'm playing in a league game, by halftime, I'd want to untie the shoe and retighten them. The shoe could definitely be snugger in the forefoot, which I would like, but honestly, these play low to the ground, they fit pretty snug. My best advice would be to tie them tight, and like I said, readjust after a few games. In regard to weight, the Lillard 1 comes in at 13 ounces, which is kind of heavy for a low top. With that said, playing in these, the weight was a non-factor. They definitely feel lighter than contemporaries like the D Rose 5 or the J Wall 1, and I think a lot of that is because the weight's very well distributed on these. And they've got a heavy outsole, but it plays low to the ground so it doesn't feel heavy, and the upper is very tight. So it balances out nice, and it's a pretty lightweight shoe to play in. And lastly, durability. Now, I've been playing in the D Lillard 1s for about 4 months, strictly indoors about once to twice a week. Now, I have to say, they've held up nice. The upper still looks good, the black's a little faded on it, but that's just a cosmetic issue. As far as cushioning, they've definitely dined down a little bit, but not enough to make me stop hooping it. As touched on earlier though, the traction eventually does wear down. So if you're a serious competitive player that plays multiple times a week, or is on a high school team or a different league, these will probably last you the majority of a season, but you might end up picking up something else later on. All in all, I really like playing in the D Lillard 1. It's still been my hooping shoe of choice for the last 4 months. Probably my favorite things about the shoe is basically the squishy, low-profile cushioning. I also like the tech foot upper. As far as some issues with it, like I said, you're definitely gonna have to retie these a few times between runs. They do loosen up. So lockdown is something that could be improved on. Also, breathability. These shoes get pretty hot after a while. I do think if they had a mesh-based upper or something like that, we'd see a better performance in that regard. But for the first D Lillard shoe, and especially the price point that they come in, these are a solid buy. I mean, you can tell the sell-through rate's been phenomenal, and just about every retailer is pretty tough to get now. Obviously, like playing the point guard position, I think they're fantastic. But we've seen guys like Matt Barnes in the NBA, who's more of like a 2-3, really more of a natural 3 playing in them. And we've seen bigs at Louisville wearing them too. So if you get a chance to play in them, let us know what you think of them in the comment section. Thanks.